Hey there, Love Matters parents, and anyone else who has ever survived a Target back to school aisle without crying. Welcome back to Unmuted Love, the podcast where we talk about real life, real brains, and real love for kids from difficult beginnings. I'm your host, Eshelman, and today we're talking about back to school anxiety hacks. Some help with that anxiety that we often feel ourselves as parents. Let's be honest, it shows up in every home like clockwork on back to school week, sometimes back to school month. Some of you have already back to school, so some of this won't apply. Come back for next year because we do this every single year. So not just your child's anxiety, but maybe your own too. If you have a child who's experienced trauma, school transition season can feel less like sharpening pencils and more like walking a tightrope, right? Over a pit of emotional crocodiles. Maybe that's hyperbole, but you know what I mean. So let's start by understanding what anxiety is actually, and maybe what it's not. So first of all, it's not laziness. It's not drama. It's not something a child can just snap out of. It only seems like it. Anxiety is our body's stress response on overdrive. It's treatable, but it shows up differently in different kids. For some, it's tummy aches. For others, it's that big blowout tantrum, or it's for others just dragging their feet seriously in silent shutdown refusal. Here's the myth-busting truth for you. Shy is not the same as social anxiety. Kids aren't just looking for attention by being anxious or having stomach aches. And medication isn't the only tool. It's one of many. If you do need medication for your child, it's not always forever. So think of anxiety as a fire alarm in the brain. Sometimes it's a warning for us for a real life fire, but often it's just gone off because someone's burned toast, like at my house whenever we barbecue. Every single alarm in the house goes off, and it makes me want to run down the street screaming. Our job as parents is to help figure out which it is, and then teach our kids how to turn the alarm down without ripping it off the wall. No, I haven't ripped them off the walls before, but I wanted to. So brace yourself for my favorite part, and that's tackling your own anxiety first. I often say that we have to put our oxygen masks on before assisting others. That's a cliche that I actually like because I think it's true. Before we get into kid hacks, we have to talk about you because your nervous system is your child's Wi-Fi connection for regulation. Oh, I kind of hate that metaphor of Wi-Fi, but whatever. It's kind of true. It fits. That means slow down, parents. Slow your roll. Breathe, really breathe, because you're the co-regulator. Check your own expectations. Face it, you have a special needs child. This is not going to look like your neighbor's Instagram post on the first day of school. And remember, what you focus on, you get more of. If you obsess over this is going to be a disaster, don't be surprised if your body language and your brain has communicated that so fiercely that it's written a script for your child for the first day of school being a disaster. Before school, there are some hacks that are not particularly hacks. They're just things that you can do. One of my favorite ways to beat back to school anxiety is to get rid of the scary unknowns. So you know this, and I'll just remind you of it. Visit the school before it's full of noisy chaos on the first day. Find the playground, walk the halls, see if you can find your child's classroom. If possible, even meet the teacher or the school nurse and the principal, the person who sits at the front desk. They have the keys to the kingdom, so it's good to know their names. Figure out lunch plans, drop-offs, and pickup spots. You want your kid to really feel like they know where they're going to be on the first day of school. This is actually called exposure therapy, only it's in real life and it's done by parents, not therapists. We're taking away surprises, so the only new thing on day one, the kid themselves. So please, if your child starts having the my stomach hurts routine, don't let it become a ticket home every time. Work with the school nurse or the principal to create a plan where your child can check in without checking out. That's what we really want. We want a school that is trauma-informed, trauma-sensitive, really sees our children when they're having anxiety and knows how to soothe rather than quickly trying to fix it. It's not a quick fix. It's a daily practice of calming the nervous system. You might have to communicate that to the school authorities or the school nurse because maybe they're not thinking that way, but that is what really needs to happen. And they can be a big part in soothing your child's anxiety. So on that big day, that big first day, it's really important to have picked the clothes out the night before, right down to the underwear and the socks. As a matter of fact, if your kid has sensory issues, I want you to actually have them put on those clothes and underwear and socks to see how they feel. Now, that doesn't guarantee that tomorrow when they put them back on that they won't feel uncomfortable, but make sure at least you've tried the night before to find the right clothes that feel comfortable. There isn't anything like having a tag at the back of your shirt on the first day of school that makes you not be able to get out the door. And you didn't know it was going to happen. You didn't know it was there. And your kid didn't know either until they were wearing it and they felt like they were going to cry. And the thing is, they don't always know to tell you it's the tag in the shirt on the back of their neck because they aren't always that aware of what it is that's triggering them. So just be aware if there's sensory issues, this is the time to really do some groundwork before you get up in the morning on school day. Leave extra time the first week, right? If you go to work, you might want to tell your boss, you are not really probably going to be on time all week. And you're sorry about that. Maybe you can do some makeup at lunch or you can work a little bit over, but you're not able to be on time. And that's just the way it's going to be. So hopefully you have a flexible boss. Now, I know everybody doesn't have that, but if you do, please take care of yourselves and arrange that ahead of time. And then at drop off, don't linger like you're on a Netflix goodbye scene, right? Oh, baby, goodbye. Oh, I'm going to miss you so much. None of that. Just do a quick hug, a quick high five, or whatever you've agreed on, and then turn around and go. And I know that's hard. It's actually kind of the hardest part, especially if you know your child has anxiety. But that is the first step to mild anxiety, is trusting that they will be okay in just a few minutes and that whoever's hands you put them in are trustworthy. One of the things you can do, though, is you could give them a small comfort object to take with them to school. So maybe a piece of fabric with your scent on it or your shampoo if you don't wear a scent. You know, it's possible you could arrange with the classroom teacher that she or he provides a fidget to your child during the classroom time and then takes it back so that your child doesn't get into throwing it or doing things with it that are disturbing to the class. But those are things that can be really helpful. Also, if you know that your child needs to stand up during a class, arranging that ahead of time is a great idea. If you have an IEP, you can write that right into the IEP so that your child is able to stand up and go to the back of the room and listen, right? Sometimes it's hard to be sitting in a chair for 45 minutes. That's hard for some of our kids when they would be perfectly fine if they could just fidget around in the back a little bit. So those are some things that you can do to help on the first week of school. And here's a kind of ninja move. Tell them, when I pick you up, I'm going to ask you what you liked best today. So I want you to be prepared, right? So notice what you like. Now, what you're really doing there is you are front loading the notion that you want your child to be scanning for positive things to tell you at the end of the day, things that they liked. So instead of looking through their negativity bias at all the things they don't like, which is going to be on the front of their tongue always, what you're saying is, oh, I'm not going to ask you about what you didn't like. That's not what I'm interested in. I'm really interested in what you're interested in and what you like. And so that helps with that frame of mind that they need to be less negative and more positive. So here are some brain hacks and neuro tools. I think of these things as the fun stuff, right? Actual brain hacks your kids can learn. They're simple. I just have a few of them here for you. There are actually a whole bunch of them, but because this is a podcast, it's super hard for me to show you. I have tried to explain them, and in some previous podcasts, I have actually explained them, but I've been told it's very hard to actually picture what it is I'm talking about. So these are a little more concrete. So one of the ways you can tame the brain is with thought awareness. You can ask your child, hey, buddy, what are you whispering to yourself inside your mind about going to school today? And then help them rewrite that inner script. Oh, you're telling yourself, what if nobody likes you? Oh my goodness, that would be scary if you were telling yourself that and you believed that voice in your head. What other story could you tell yourself to make it a little easier for you? And then maybe your child would say, I don't know, everybody likes me. Yes, you could start there. Yes, tell yourself that, yeah, everybody's going to like you. You could also say, Not everybody's going to like me, but there will be people who do. So, you don't have to be so exaggerated, and they sometimes won't believe a big flip. So you want to give them a realistic thing to say in their mind to their whispering gremlin. Another thing you want to do is hack number 2 is get the vibe right? So on the way to school, this is one of the things I really want to encourage you to do is look up binaural beats, maybe on YouTube or just Google it, and you'll find out what binaural beats are. They're sound waves that literally calm brain frequencies. They're so great. It's one sound in one ear, another in the other, and then that together makes a third sound in the inner ear. And that sound in the inner ear is a calming mechanism for your whole body. So it's great for homework time too, but also that drive to school can be very easily calmed and your kids won't even know it's happening. Now you can have them listen to it in headphones, or there are some that you can actually listen to just directly. Usually they're headphones so that you can hear the sound in one ear and then the other, but it turns out there are some new ones that don't require that. So look into it and see what you can find and try it out. If you can't find the ones that are no headphones necessary, then try it with headphones at home during homework time. It can make the difference between super frustration and taking things in stride. And hack number 3 is be here now, right? Most people spend 70% of their mental time in the future and 20% thinking about the past, a mere 10% being here now. That's a lot of what if thinking. Pull them back with sensory cues, right? What do you see? What do you hear? What's one thing you can touch right now? That's an anxiety tool to help kids get here rather than worrying about things in the future or thinking about the bad things that happened in the past. Because if they're being here right now, they'll be able to see something that's right in front of them. They'll be able to find something that they hear, and then they'll be able to find something that they can touch right now. Those are very grounding things that you can ask them to do to bring them into the present. When you're in the present, you're much more calm than if you are worried about the future or fretting about the past. And then hack number 4 is calm the body and calm the mind. Kids really hate it when you say take a breath. So I'm not big on starting there with kids, but what I am big on is you breathing deeply yourself without ever saying anything to your child about taking a breath. So I want you to know that the part of breathing that is calming is the exhale. So when you take a deep breath in, hold it at the top, slowly let it out, and then hold it at the bottom. That letting it out and holding it at the bottom is what is calming. So make sure you do that part. And if you do that all the way to school in the car, for example, before long, your child's breath will be matching yours because that's just the way people are. We match each other. We mirror each other. Also, you could encourage your child to do some simple stretches, roll their neck, lift their eyebrows, shrug their shoulders, look up at the sky. Those are simple stretches that actually help open up the body to a better state and a better sense of relaxation. Also, guided imagery works pretty well. So if your child is gearing up for big anxiety, you might want to say, hey, on the way to school, let's take a mind vacation. You know what that is? And they'll be like, no, because they don't. And then you say, okay, I want you to remember when we went to the beach last summer. We went to the beach. Do you remember what we did? Oh, we laid in the hot sand and it felt so good. Can you remember what that felt like? Can you remember what the sand felt like in your fingers? Can you remember what it felt like pressed up against your legs and your back? Didn't it feel so good? I remember you saying, oh, this feels so good. Yeah, if you remember that, that's like a little mind vacation, isn't it? What's something else that you have done recently that caused you to feel better? I remember you jumped into the spa at our friend's house, Sarah's house. You thought that was the best thing ever. It was this warm spa that just felt like you were in a great big bathtub and you really liked it. And so we can just take you there. Just remember what that spa felt like. Oh, the water was so warm and the jets were so soothing, and even the sound of the jets, right? I remember you saying, oh, I kind of like that sound, Mom. It's sort of like the white noise sound that we have in your bedroom. So those kinds of chats that you can have with children while just going somewhere that might be causing them a little anticipation, anxiety, can calm them right down. Because what you're doing in the moment, in the present, in the here and now, is you're actually taking them somewhere else right now, to the beach, right now, to the spa, right now to, I don't know, a beautiful, relaxing mountain that you climbed once and you got to the top and it was like, so we finally made it to the top, right? It's actually relaxing once you get to the top. And then finally, hack number 5 is taking a physical reset. I always suggest this to folks and they don't always believe it's true, but if you ask your child to do 10 jumping jacks, or let's say that you say to them, hey, I'm going to do 10 jumping jacks. Will you do them with me? And then you do 5, let's say. Maybe they manage to do 5. That's actually good for regulation. You could also have them squeeze a stuffed animal until their arms shake. A squishmallow, have them squeeze a squishmallow so tight until they can't squeeze it anymore. That's a great regulating strategy. Or you can say, let's stomp our feet until we just can't stop them anymore. And you know what? You will stomp, and most parents and children end up laughing because it's so hard to do after a minute. And then lastly, you can ask your child to clap like they're at the best concert they've ever been to and they want an encore. So let's see if you can bring the band back by how hard you can clap. Clapping actually is very regulating as well. So I hope those hacks help you a little bit. You can use them anywhere, anytime. All of them are without any tools. They're just happening right in the present, to bring your child's awareness into the here and now, into their body, into relaxation, or into experiences that they've had. They can bring those into the here and now as well. So one of the things also that you can help your kids grow are some mantras for their brains. I love giving kids mantras. I also love when they develop their own. But what you're looking for are some simple, sticky, positive brain snacks that they can repeat until the panic fades. So here are some you can steal, but it's actually best to collaborate with your child to come up with some. What could you tell yourself that would make you feel better in the moment of upset or of anxiety? And so one of the things you can borrow will be, hey, I've got this. What if that's your mantra? I've got this. Can you say it? And your child repeats, yeah, I've got this. And I'm like, yeah, I've got this too. Let's go get this, right? You can just have fun with it, be silly with words. It's great. Or you can say something like, breathing is freeing. And your child will sneer and roll their eyes and they'll be like, well, okay, you can say it in your head, even if you're not going to do it. Breathing is freeing. Okay, that's not your favorite. All right, let's try something else. How about making mistakes means learning? Oh, you probably don't want that one either. Let's come up with something better, right? So it doesn't really matter what the mantra is. What you want is a sticky Post-it on the inside of your child's brain that they can be reminded to be here now, that they're okay, that they've got it, that they're safe, and that they know what they're doing, and that they know that there are people in the room who like them. So you can do all kinds of things with those sticky notes. You can actually have them in real life, or you can have them in pockets that you stick them in, or in notebooks, or you can just have them on a bathroom mirror, for example, or in the lunchbox note, or, be creative. I think it's the best way to go, to be creative with your kids, for them to come up with things that they can remember as mantras. I have plenty as a parent for how to stay regulated as a parent. One of my favorites is, remember you love them. That's one of my favorite mantras for myself, because sometimes I'd lose track of that when I was getting heated under the collar. So I just remind myself, remember, you love them, see, you love them. And that always brought me back into the truth, which is, yeah, I do love them. So I'm going to behave like I love them right now, even though I'm feeling so mad that I don't feel love, right? So anyway, that's the parent version. So, if you need more help, you'll know, because what you're doing here isn't working. So if your child's anxiety is interfering every day with daily life, socially, academically, or in their relational activities around the house, it's time to call in reinforcements, right? Your child actually might need some help. They might need some CBT, or they might need some DBT, or they might need neurofeedback to help them calm themselves down. There are skill building groups they can go to, and sometimes, yes, there is short-term medication. The point is, anxiety is treatable, and kids can learn to manage it with the right tools, the right support, and a parent who keeps showing up regulated. Your regulation turns out to be one of the best tools your child has. Oh, it always comes down to you, doesn't it, parent? I'm always saying to you, you're the most important person in the room. And even with anxiety that is springing up inside your child, your own regulation turns out to be the most important thing you can give them. So whether your child is the one clinging to your leg at drop off or the one who gets mysteriously ill every Monday, know this. You are not alone. School is not just about reading and math. It's a gym for emotional muscles, right? It's a social workout. And with the right preparation, the right neuro hacks, and your steady, regulated presence, your child can build resilience one school day at a time. So listen, this is so important. Your love matters. It always does. And with that, I'm going to say thank you so much for listening to Unmuted Love today. If you found this helpful, share it with a friend and check out the Love Matters Parenting Society at lovemattersparenting.com for help with therapeutic parenting in a year-long program that will transform your life. Until next time, take some deep breaths, have brave hearts, and yes, sharpen those pencils. All right, everybody, take care. And remember, again, your love matters when more than love is required.